I know the comic book cast has already done this kind of video, but shut up, it's my turn now. Now, the future of the MCU past the Infinity Saga is very intriguing because the possibilities in where the MCU could go on from there is just endless. And there is a major promise in that the MCU will be completely different after Avengers 4. And with the 20 upcoming films in development, I think that is a pretty good time in predicting what film could be in development after Avengers 4. Now, despite the fact that Disney is about to buy Fox, I'm not going to mention the X-Men or even the Fantastic Four on this list because although it is likely that Marvel does have plans for both franchises, I really like both the X-Men and the Fantastic Four will be additional movies that could shuffle the possible slate, in a similar fashion to SpiderMan Homecoming in that shuffled pretty much majority of Phase 3. And speaking of SpiderMan Homecoming, we know that it's a guarantee that it is in fact going to get a sequel, as that already has the release date of July 5th of 2019, and will be the film that will kickstart Phase 4. And it's pretty much guaranteed that Spider-Man will have a complete trilogy as well, so already we have 2 films already slated. Next we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as that is the only other film that is confirmed and does have a release date sometime in 2020. And James Gunn has mentioned multiple times that this is going to be the final chapter of the original Guardians. And this will also kickstart the next big story arc in the MCU, as well as expanded upon the cosmic side of Marvel. And then after that we do have Ant-Man 3, and it does make sense because Ant-Man needs to complete his trilogy. And there has been some rumours that we're going to get the introduction of Goliath in Ant-Man 3, and by that I mean seeing Goliath in his actual persona, which could be further evident as the actor who's going to play as Goliath did mention that he does have a secret Marvel project under his belt, and maybe this film could be known as Ant-Man and Goliath. Now next up we do have the sequel for Doctor Strange, to which Kevin Feige has already revealed that Doctor Strange will in fact have a sequel. However, it's not going to come out in a very long time, mostly because they're focusing on wrapping up Phase 3. And given how Doctor Strange is already getting a sequel, chances are he will probably have a trilogy as well. And if you kept count at this point, then this is in fact our 5th and 6th film. Now next up we do have Black Panther 2, and chances are he will also get a trilogy, because right now Black Panther is a very popular character, and his first solo movie will be very influential, as Black Panther will be the very first black superhero who will have his very own solo movie, and Black Panther is almost a guarantee in holding his very own franchise at this point. And lastly, for the easy half, we do have Captain Marvel 2 and Captain Marvel 3, because similarly to Black Panther, Captain Marvel is bound to be successful purely because, well, more diversity. And if you add up all of the films that I've mentioned thus far, we already have our first 10. And these films are almost guaranteed to actually be in Phase 4. However, the next 10 movies are really juicy, and they could really go either way. Now first of all, I'm going to predict that we're going to get at least 2 new Avengers movies. And by new Avengers, I'm talking about the new characters such as Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man, and so on and so forth. And it would be incredibly stupid on Marvel's part to just completely end the Avengers brand. And the reason why I say 2 new Avengers movies is because if you look at Phase 3, it has a total of 10 films. And seeing as how we have 20 films in development, we could easily split them in half and they could fill up the next 2 phases. So maybe we have the new Avengers for the end of Phase 4, and then for Phase 5 we could have the new Avengers Secret Invasion, or whatever story they want to do next. Now the next film I'm going to predict is of course the Black Widow solo movie. Scarlett Johansson is on board with this project, but not only that, Kevin Feige has stated multiple times that he wants to do a Black Widow movie, and many fans have been clamouring this film for a very long time. So at this point Black Widow has to be one of these new movies. And speaking of Black Widow, I'm also going to be predicting that at some point we will get the AForce film. Now lately there has been a major push revolving around an all-female team-up movie, specifically with Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. And again, Scarlett Johansson is willing to come back as Black Widow for this project. And plus with the possible inclusions of Captain Marvel, Wasp, Scarlet Witch, I feel like AForce will eventually happen down the road. Next we do have a really interesting one in the form of Namor. Now as far as I'm aware, Marvel recently regained the full rights to Namor the Submariner, and given the subtle Easter eggs revolving around Namor, it does make sense that they will eventually introduce Namor. And because Atlantis is a completely different setting, it does make sense for Marvel to explore the underwater side of the MCU. Now next up we do have a fan favourite in the name of Nova. Now again, both James Gunn and Kevin Feige did mention that they do have plans for Nova in the future, and given how Marvel wants to expand the cosmic side of the MCU ever so more, Nova is the next logical step. And next to Black Widow, Nova's probably the most highly requested. And then sticking with the cosmic side of Marvel, this one could go either way. Now the first possible one I could think of is of course the original Guardians. Now they were introduced at the end of Guardians Volume 2, and chances are they could probably be set up as the next gen Guardians of the Galaxy, in a similar fashion to how the Avengers always keeps changing their roster. Or maybe we could have some sort of Annihilation film, with a completely different team of Annihilators featuring characters like Adam Warlock, Quasar, maybe Beta Ray Bill. Again, this one is a bit of a stretch, but given how they want to expand the cosmic MCU, I don't see why not. The next one I can think of is of course the Sentry. Now when it comes down to popularity, the Sentry is of course an underdog, but Marvel is no stranger in doing this. They've done it with Guardians, so I don't see why not doing the same for Sentry. The Sentry is more or less Marvel's Superman, but with a dark side. And if you read up on the Sentry's origin story as well as his first storyline, then it could really make up for an amazing movie. Now the next one is something that I'm really dying to see, and this is of course the Wonderbolts movie. Now it has been mentioned for quite a while now that James Gunn has done a pitch to Marvel in relation to a potential Thunderbolts film. And although we haven't heard anything concrete ever since, there has been some mumblings in that the Thunderbolts could potentially happen. And there is a clear fan base for those who actually want this Thunderbolts film. And this could be something completely different in the MCU. And last but not least, we do have a potential legacy type film, i.e. the new Captain America or the new Thor. And given how both Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth are about to finish their contracts as Captain America and Thor respectively, there has been some constant rumours revolving around the next gen Cap and Thor. It has been heavily foreshadowed in Captain America Civil War when it comes down to Captain America retiring, and even Kevin Feige mentioned that he was on board with the potential female Thor. But again, this one could really go either way. But at the end of the day, the MCU is always ever expanding and always evolves. And Kevin Feige does mention that the MCU will be completely different after Phase 3. So really there's quite a lot to predict when it comes down to the future of the MCU. And it's always exciting to see where the MCU could be heading next. So what do you think of my predictions for the possible 20 MCU films? And what films would you like to see Marvel do in the future? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Take care and have a good one.